And without further ado, we just want to introduce our speaker this morning, Jayden Tan. Jayden is a good friend of mine. He's a very talented creative. I think you might have seen some of his work. It's very quirky, very locally infused. And he has a new kind of like obsession with plant. And he has a very, very great agency that he just started called Headquarters. So I think that we will hear a little bit more from him today in terms of his story and like what is his take on CM, like the Biophilia team. So I think without further ado, Jayden, would you like to? I'll stop sharing so you can share your beautiful slides.
Hi everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Maybe we should start with the coffee question. Like, how do you get start like your day usually, Jayden?
You guys make me sound like I'm some coffee connoisseur, but I'm not. I just drink espresso coffee.
Yeah, we just love coffee.
Yeah. So I've recently found capsules that you can use on these Nespresso machines. They're not Nespresso. They're actually called Hoop Coffee, and I can assure you, once you go to these Hoop Coffee capsules, right, you'll never go back to Nespresso ones anymore because they taste really very different and quite unique. I think they are a local company, and they're this is not sponsored, by the way. I just
this is just passion about coffee.
There's this flavor called Yaya Kakaya. It's kind of cute. It's like a kaya flavor type thing. It's like a coconut and pandan blend. So yeah, so quite interesting. So I only drink like the Hook capsules now, and it's just like that.
Cool. Yeah, every month we feel like we get such good recommendations from our speaker, like either books or like now we have great coffee recommendation. Leave us like a link maybe in the chat so everybody can check it out as well. Yeah.
Luana shared Hook Coffee. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Maybe you guys will get sponsored next month.
Hopefully.
Okay, so let me try to share my screen. All right. Are you guys seeing my screen?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Hi everyone. Hi, my name is Jayden, and when I was tasked to talk about biophilia, I had to Google what it means. So it's all I found out it's all things nature and living beings, and it's defined as the innate human instinct to connect with nature and other living beings. So it can be animals, it can be nature, and I think for me it's a lot to do with plants and being like connected to nature because I used to think that I am a very city person, like a city boy, and when I go overseas I love to I don't really like to sightsee a lot, but when I went to Iceland last year, it totally changed my perception of like nature and landscape. And yeah, so and then with plants, so you'll get to hear a bit more about how I found out about my obsession with plants and where it came from, I think. So I do a lot of visuals that are occasion based. So this image that you see right now, it's actually meant for International Women's Day to kind of commemorate the day itself. It posted on Instagram. It's titled Chai Chu Fa, which is my mom's name. But you might ask, like, what has like this guy's hand got to do with women, International Women's Day?
Yeah, like what is the inspiration behind it? Yeah.
And that's my hand, by the way. It's kind of like a self-portrait. I wish I had the behind the scenes to show you how the process is. It's quite haphazard because it's like just like plants like spotted on different stands, and then I'm just like creeping through without trying to knock them over. So the process is a bit haphazard, but whatever works, right? So okay. For to explain why this image has anything to do with International Women's Day, I have to bring you back to my corridor back at home. So yeah, this is how it looks like. 1 second, went back. Okay, I probably shouldn't include my address there, but
yeah.
but
we know where you stay now.
So it's okay. Please don't come and bomb my house or what. So this is like the corridor outside of my HDB flat, my parents' home. So I see them. I see this scene every day, and my mom is always tending to a plant. So these are my mom's plants, and she's always tending to them, watering them every day, and she kind of like nonchalantly takes up the whole space, the whole stretch lah, with
Yep.
the whole plants. And like to the right of the image, actually down like just maybe 3 more meters, it's the neighbor's door already, but she doesn't really care, so he just kind of takes up the whole space. So
Yeah.
so I see this every day, and then for me early on, I didn't really care that much. It's just, oh, okay, it's a hobby, and then it's cool, but I didn't really care about the plants that much.
Yeah.
And it was only when I started to fast forward like many years, where I started headquarters last year, when I got my own studio space. The studio space itself has a lot of windows, and in the bathroom itself, it has this like kind of like a awkward space for you to put something. So my first instinct was to just put plants, a lot of plants.
Right.
Yeah, so and then I went straight to the hipster plants without even having any like plant experience before, so quite risky. But
Yeah.
it just happened. So I didn't thought much about it, and as time grew by, it just added more and more. So you see, this August 2019, then this is January this year,
Oh wow. Oh
then
wow. You can see it literally growing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and July, and then this is just a month ago.
Oh
So
wow.
the current theme is engulfed by plants. The harder you can see yourself in the mirror, the better.
That's
So
amazing though. Yeah.
uh, it's actually kind of also inspired by PS Cafe. I'm sure those of you in Singapore have been to PS Cafe. If you go to their restroom, you will see that they always have this very huge, obnoxious pot of plant at the basin where you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. So I'm trying to go in the direction.
Yeah.
So this is just something that it was fun doing it, and I kind of learned a lot about plants throughout. And I'm quite a lazy plant parent, if you can call it that, because I don't really research that much. I just kind of get them, and then I just see how they thrive in the environment or not. Then I kind of tweak the things to it. So I think having plants in the studio is a great conversation starter, and also when guests they post their selfies on social media, it's kind of like a great way to publicize the studio and stuff like that.
Right. It's very organic, like how you set up the space, and then people just kind of like go in and like, oh, like this is interesting. I agree with you. I think it's a great conversation starter for anybody who go into
It's
there.
interesting
Yeah.
because there is really two kind of people when they come to my studio. So there are the ones that reached they saw they go inside the restroom, and they're like, oh, nice. Then they just they kind of ignore it. Then there are those that are just like, oh my god, it's a fern view in here, it's a jungle. So I know those are my kind of people.
Right.
Okay, so why I'm bringing all this up, right? Is because when I look back, uh, I realized everything is kind of connected. So
Right.
when this self-portrait happens, right? It's dedicated to my mom because like her plants, she puts effort and time in bringing me up. So like quite
I
literally,
think that's a beautiful way to see it. Yeah.
yeah. So then then I think how I grew up as a person is really her doing. Uh, I think also having the confidence to deck up the studio with plants. It's kind of connected to her little hobby at home, and
Right.
I think on hindsight, like I feel like a lot of times when things happen for a reason, and although sometimes certain things don't seem like it's such a big of a deal when it happened, but I think it makes sense when you join the dots. So there's this quite famous quote from Steve Jobs. I think many of you would have heard of this before. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So if you trust that the dots that will somehow connect in your future. So
Right.
just a longer quote. He talks about talks about his journey in Apple and in creating personal computers, and he had went to like a calligraphy lesson,
Mm-hmm.
then some typography lesson, and that kind of uh, inspired him to bring typography into computers. So he mentioned, like, had he not take the class, you would not, personal computers might not have wonderful typography today.
Mm.
So I thought it's very apt, the code, like, and it really applies for a lot of things that I do. Like when I look back, I realize how why certain things happen and how the way it happened. Yeah. So a good example of how the dots really connected for me, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
would be this portrait series that you see right now. This is photographed in 2016, um, and this is the shot that kind of make my career, I would say.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's okay. So a bit more about the work itself. It's inspired by this Dutch photographer's work. His name is Hendrik Kirsten. Um,
Right. Yes.
he takes photos of his daughter in very quirky. It's just like portraits, like headshots, but he places like quirky elements, like everyday products, things on her head, and dresses up with like coffee bags and like plastic bags.
Yeah. He
So
was trying to mimic like a portrait, right? If I'm not wrong. Like,
yeah. So
uh,
like the Dutch movement, kind of like a
yeah.
painting.
Right.
I can't remember what's the term already, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So me inspired by his works, so I kind of did a local version of it. So using this good morning towel, and then the uniform, the SQ girl uniform, and then eventually, it became a series. And let me go to the next one. And then it was just for fun, and this portrait itself went on to do, I would say, quite extraordinary things for me.
Mm-hmm.
It led me to do more of the series of portraits,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the more amazing thing how it connected is, fast forward 3 years later, after making the first portrait series in the 2016, uh, I received an email from the biggest client in 2019, who also later went to become a good friend of mine, and she's Nicole. Shout
Mm-hmm.
out Nicole. I don't think she's here, but she's from Netflix. So
Ah,
yeah, that was something really big for me last year.
yeah.
And let me just quickly show you. Yeah. So Nicole, she saw the portrait series and started to follow my work back then. And years later, when she got the brief into market this title for this particular show, she reached out to work together on this. So, wait 1 second. Let me, ah. So
Oh wow.
yeah, so this is the show. We did these visuals in KL and in JB. It
Mm-hmm.
was quite fun. It's my first time working with such a big team, and it is yeah. I'm still quite I still feel that the whole experience quite surreal. Like it's really I never thought how I could even like get a Netflix job to
Yeah.
do the photos and stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
so funny thing is, during this production of this show, the visuals, uh,
Mm-hmm.
she mentioned that, she's not like just talking about work and talking about the next thing that she's gonna do. Then
Mm-hmm.
she told me that there's a new Thai Netflix series that she's gonna make visuals for as well.
Mm-hmm.
And and lo and behold, I love Thailand. So um, and I even like picked up the language a few years ago. I'm not very good
Yeah.
at it, just a bit here and there. And then
Yeah.
so when she knew about it, so immediately she decided, let's work together again on that title. So
Right.
yeah, so then we went on to the next one, and this is the show, Stranded. These are all on Netflix. You can go and watch them when you're free.
Yeah, I watched The Ghost Bride actually. It was a very good show.
Ah,
I just have a quick question for you though, Jayden. I think as a creative, you mentioned the connecting the dots, right? And
yeah.
I think that in itself as a thought, that's very interesting. and like I think you thrive a lot on your passion projects, whether it's plants or like the earlier portraits of like work that you've shown, right? How how do you kind of like what is your kind of tips maybe, or like if you have like a suggestion on how as creative or anybody who is doing kind of like a passion project on the side, how do you eventually kind of like consciously shape it into something that might work for you in a business or like as a maybe a side hustle in the future? Do you have any kind of like tips to give us or anything to watch out for maybe?
I think there is like almost like a two parts component. So
Mm-hmm.
one of it is really what you like, and I think
Right.
what someone's interest is,
Mm-hmm.
it may be a very broad spectrum of things or maybe very niche. That itself will kind of already put you in a space where whether your interest it's appeals to the general public or it's just a group of people. But either way, I feel that it's all about being relentless to pursue what you want to do. And
Right.
uh, I feel that like okay, so example, like I
Mm-hmm.
was very interested in I'm still very interested in fashion and you know shoot
Mm-hmm.
fashion imageries and stuff like that, but
Yeah.
um I've never really shot for big fashion magazines. So
Right.
and before doing the National Day portraits, right, uh I was constantly doing the like fashion test shoots and all that, and they kind of look the same as what people put out, you
Are
know.
already doing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So then I just kind of try tweak certain things here and there, and so okay. So before the 2016 portrait, there's 2 years of like more fashion stuff, and but it was also for National Day portraits.
Yeah.
So then when 2016 came, I thought, okay, let's do less like having Caucasian models, having like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
model. Let's just find a random like Singaporean and shoot
Right.
her. And then it kind of happened, and then because it was just so organic, and even the outfit itself wasn't really planned.
Right.
It was just very impromptu. In the chili packets on her earrings, it's just like because in the morning itself before the shoot, I went to eat the mee pok. Then you
Oh
know
wow.
I saw the packets of chili. So okay, let's try to use
Mm.
that for the shoot. So
Yeah.
yeah, so but that went on to made me do even more of the visuals that I do. So like all these photo series that I do quite
Mm.
constantly on my free time. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I just kept doing them, whether or not they have any kind of whether or not they
Right.
do well or not online.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it was so I think what you see right now is like
Mm.
the highlights.
Connecting the dots. Yeah. Yeah.
There are
You're
tons
right.
of work that I shot before that I didn't even post online, and you know I just kind of like practice.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
I think the very key important thing is to really be relentless about what you like and keep doing
Mm-hmm.
it, and eventually even if it's a very niche thing, it you know nowadays we everything's online, right? So
Yeah.
uh it just so happens someone sees it, and you never know how the dots will connect next time, you know, like I
Mm-hmm.
might bookmark something on my Instagram, you know, and then years later when I need an idea, I thought, oh, okay, this is maybe like you know like how Nico saw my work, and then it kind of like this his series of Asian portraits could be applicable to the Netflix portraits, and then it linked. So
Right.
it might not be like immediately. So the things that you do now maybe will only reap 5 years later.
Yeah. I think that's a really great advice. So just to be relentless in your passions. I think no matter whether it's like art or it could be anything, right? I think in life, I think that's a great quote to end kind of like 2020 as well, and like plan for 2021.
Yeah,
Okay,
especially
but yeah,
now.
mhm. Yeah,
Um,
especially now. You're right.
yeah, we just have to be really relentless over what we do as in our careers and you know what we do. Yeah. Okay, let
Yeah.
me see what's the next slide. Oh, okay. Um, I wanted to share more about the the amazing, so like the second title, right, for Netflix, and there were quite a lot of ad buys, so the visuals went all over Bangkok, which
Oh
it's
wow.
to today I still find quite surreal, like to see the stuff being printed on billboards and on screens. And I mean, let's just say like 2019 for me was an amazing year lah. um so yeah, so in my notes here, I was actually had the same thing that I was just talking to you about, like the production um that I was doing for these two shows, right? It was just a side hustle along the way. So I was still working at an agency when I was doing this.
Oh
And
wow.
I,
Yeah.
I had to take leave days, and when I left the previous agency in mid 2019, I actually overdrafted my leave days. So after they prorate, I actually had to like kind of work more days than my last day
Oh.
to pay back the kind of
Yeah.
the leave days that I took lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but all these kind of turned out to
It pays off in the end.
yeah, they it kind of pays off in the end, and
Yeah.
it gives me a lot of confidence to start doing my own thing, and confidence and resources lah, I would say, to start
Yeah.
doing my own. Yeah. And then so yeah, so had I not started making these passion projects, right, I don't think I'll be able to do what I'm doing now. So you see, never mind the very wretched setups, no makeup artists, talent doing her own makeup on the floor of HDB flat, and then putting random ideas together.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, the initial dots don't really show where they will lead you to.
Right.
Um, yeah. So I mentioned I did National Day series every year, right? But I've missed 2 years of National Day portraits already because it was last year. It was so hectic, setting up headquarters, so there's simply no time. And then fast forward this year, this year is kind of weird because it's the whole COVID situation.
It's a
Then
special year, definitely.
and then
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to make something like funny or what, or one,
Yeah.
and or like even like COVID related. So I decided to like, okay, this year I shouldn't do it again.
Yeah.
But somehow I feel that this is like the whole woo thing where I think the universe like kind of wanted me to make it happen, make the passion projects happen again. Didn't want to let the creative soul die. So a TV production team reached out to me to have me on one of their upcoming documentary series.
Oh wow.
And in it,
Okay.
I actually get to create the Singapore tribute series. Like,
Oh, it's funny how everything kind of like connect back to your earlier kind of fashion
yeah,
projects and even like your commercial projects as well.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's yeah. My head is standing.
Yeah.
So I can't really show you the full visual of the portraits, but this is like
Is this like a top secret sneak preview for
yeah, but
everyone at Creative Morning?
yeah, first preview, sneaky peek. But the show is actually gonna air. This episode is gonna air 27th this month on Channel News Asia. So it's also available online, so you guys can go and see when it's out.
Right.
Yeah, I'll blast the link all over. Yeah. Okay, so back to plants. Because we're talking about how the National Day series kind of like was like an overnight sensation for me, and then a lot of articles cover it. So, and I kind of use the method. I'm trying to see what else can I do with a quirky headpiece, like funny styling, and then pair it with like photography techniques. So then I started to experiment with putting plants on people's heads. And yeah, so these are like kind of test portraits that I did with a few friends.
Yeah.
And then yeah, this one as well.
Oh, this
And
is beautiful. Yeah.
thank you. So I tried to photograph the plants in different lighting. So this one is like a more low-key gel lighting colored, and then over the next one it's the same headpiece, but it's in a very high-key bright lighting. So and it's amazing how it photographs very differently and almost like a different headpiece. Also, this is a different treatment. I kind of make the photo a bit more like a painterly kind of texture.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
Then and then I this is this year.
Yeah.
I want to shout out to everyone's favorite botanical design studio, the Humid House.
Yes, we had them as a speaker as
Yeah,
well
and
this year. Yeah.
their work really inspires me a lot, and I think they really take the aesthetic of plants to the next level, and and this visual is greatly inspired by them, and so I mentioned like how I always do visuals for certain occasion, and this was for this year's Chinese New Year,
Right.
before all the shit hit the fan. So the meaning of it is actually it plays on a pun in a Chinese slang for biceps. So
Oh.
they call it 小老鼠 for biceps, which is like little rats. So this year is the year of the rats. So I thought I could
Ah.
join the two things idea together and become one. So the greeting goes something like "May all your 小老鼠 become 大老鼠." So it's like may all your small rats become big rats this year. Yeah, so it's like a quirky and fun visual that and yeah, and I thought yeah, I just really want to shout out to Humid House. Really love their stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the music video that I did last year with Instra. So she went on an Antarctica trip, more so to kind of research on the climate change and uh, basically all the issues that's going on with the world right now, like the environmental
Okay.
issues. And when she came back, she made songs and she made even a theater play. And then she had this song Sun and Moon. And it's so then we decided to work together on for the music video. It's on a shoestring budget, but we try to make it work. And there's a lot of like plant elements in it. There's like yeah, you'll see. And this is
Okay.
how I wanna. I'm sure I think the sound will be played. So let me try. Okay,
Yeah.
please enjoy this music video. So there are a
Oh,
lot
wow.
of different references and like ideas jam packed in this music video. And
Yeah.
if you realize like how there's actually a lot of outfit change, and she went from a very white outfit to like a reddish in the near the end, and then
Mm,
last shot was a compilation of all the outfits all together into like this megazord of outfit.
mhm,
Yeah, and then her hair in the beginning of the video was short, and then it went gradually longer and longer. So it's just kind of playing on growth and how like the how the climate is, and how the outfit became more and more radial, was kind of like to signify like everything's bleeding, and then everything's like
mhm,
in pain. And yeah, so it was trying to translate her vision of like kind of the statement
mm.
of climate change through the song. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting how we can kind of see elements or like features from your own kind of like experiments, right? Experimentations and passion projects. And then it becomes, another project in itself, like even with the plants, the way that it's being styled. I think there's a nice kind of, again, like talking about what you mentioned, right? Connecting the dots of like how when you look back, actually, it kind of inspires each other and like it informs like your creators in the future. I think it's really great. Okay, I think for today we are going to take in some questions. I think there are a couple of questions in the chat, and we would like to invite if you guys are keen to open your camera and then ask the question to Jayden yourself to give us a shout out. Let us know. But we can start with Luana. Actually, Luana, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, sure. I actually have a few questions, Jayden. My first one, which I haven't written yet, was there a tipping point when you decided to go from like agency life to on your own and to explore your kind of like artistic voice in that sense? Like, how were you always doing passion projects that kind of, led you where you are today?
Yeah, I think I always been I couldn't rest on the weekends just like not doing anything creative. So in my first even in my first agency job like 10 years ago, um I was on the weekends doing a lot of typography things and posting online, and then yeah, then we went on to doing flat lays, and yeah, and it was I didn't thought of using all these to earn money. Actually, it's just like for fun, and to post online and get likes on Instagram. So and I think the tipping point would be actually gaining a steady flow of clients that kind of like want to do their work in your style. And that is something that uh it's quite precious, I feel sometimes, because when we do day-to-day work, we really have to put aside the artist ego and try to just be a service provider sometimes. So I get a lot of fulfillment doing work that is really being requested to done in my style and like my vision. And when the client is really collaborative, it just fulfills me a lot. And so it just kind of makes sense when more and more clients came on board, and when I'm kind of like almost earning more on the side than to actually, okay, this is the time I can if I so I actually was very practical. I was thinking, okay, so can I survive without um my day job for the next 6 months, if there were no more clients in. Then so I kind of calculated my finances, that okay, can do. So let's just try. And back then, the amazing thing is I don't know where these people come from, but every week there will be like people reaching out to, hey, do you do this, do you do that? Granted, there are people who come to me asking for things that I don't even do, like say a wedding photography or like event photography, but I still get them anyway. But yeah, so I think this kind of constant requests makes me feel a little bit more confident of not not being able to die without a day job. So yeah, so then everything adds up, and then now I'm just doing this whole thing. And it's very different. Being a business owner is a whole ball game on its own. So yeah, this is another series on its own.
Thank you for answering.
All right, we have another question from Serbi. They ask, hi Jayden, how do you stay passionate and committed to your craft?
To my craft. I kind of just am. How do I stay passionate? I think because I really have a lot of thoughts in my head that I want to put out to the world, and I'm constantly thinking about, hey, why not let's do this in this style, let's mix this and this together, and even two seemingly unrelated things could be put together. And like there was once I saw like an influencer with a photo of a phone. Then I saw models in water. That I thought, okay, let's have my friend stand in the water with a phone, just like, and then create a creative visual out of it. And this is me. I just can't rest without creating something, putting out all the thoughts that are in my head. So I'm glad that there is this thing in my head. If not, I think I'll be very lazy and just like, watch Netflix every day. Yeah. So I guess a part of it is how do you find inspiration and how do you find the drive, right? I think for me, a lot of it is the trigger, and identifying what is the trigger to make you want to create more. So but going to this, my trigger is actually a bit dark. So I kind of thrive in competition. So when I see like certain works that are really very gorgeous, very, very nice, and so smart, the concept behind it, I think to myself, okay, I must do something better than that. So this becomes a trigger. So every day I'm scrolling like Pinterest, scrolling Instagram, just like kind of like eyeballing and bookmarking everything that's going out to the world, and all this inspires me a lot to create my own version or do something that's better or something like that. So yeah, so I think for me a lot of it is the inspiration and the trigger to do more, and then I think that leads on to being passionate about the things that I do.
I think that's a wonderful kind of like tip. We'll just round up the question portion with one last question. I think this one is from all of us. What is kind of like your key lesson of growth in 2020, especially for like a creative and a small business, right? What is one tip that kind of keep you going, like and growing, I guess, in such a tough kind of like year or environment?
Yeah, I think the growth part is really quite important, right? Because we're on the topic of biophilia, and
yes, I mean, like we're kind of like plants, right? All of us.
Yeah, I just must mention that plants are so amazing because you really, although they're like inanimate, they don't move, and they don't kind of, but they really do show it when you notice. And I kind of recently connected the dots of like actually I find that maybe graphic designers, they might be very good plant parents. Only because
that's interesting.
how graphic designers look at pixels and look at, and how we are all like, oh, this is one pixel off, and with that kind of attention to detail, right? If you put it into plants, you actually have green fingers immediately, because that's how a lot of time how I revive a dying plant. It's just looking at how the plant is and noticing there are bugs on it and see how they grow. And then because I see them every day, so I kind of like can tell, oh, this plant is not doing very well, it's kind of wilted a little bit. So the attention to detail created the green finger in me. I feel that that's what happened. Yeah. So back to your question, I'm off track. What was the question again?
how do we grow, or like if you have any kind of like tip for maybe 2021, like how can we grow further?
I think it's being nimble and being on our feet a lot. And like an example is during the circuit breaker, right? Photographers or like photography business itself, we can't operate. So there's this local SSIC code that, you know, if you're under this code, you can't even operate as a business. It's like illegal, but agency can. So like video production can, because there's MediaCorp and stuff like that. So so it was a bit on the losing end, because here we have video productions ongoing. You know, I think it was phase 1 or phase 2. They could already started working, but me as a photography business, because I registered as a photography business lah, although we do also video, but because of the SSIC code, we couldn't work at all. So knowing that, immediately months when we could change our SSIC code, we changed it to like a production house. So then to safeguard ourselves, you know, so that we can still operate legally. So I think a lot of things like that just have to be kind of nimble on our feet. And sometimes when we just cannot be too fixated on doing certain things, yeah, like, you know, you just have to kind of see what the market needs and try to tweak what you can offer to the market. And I mean, this is a very businessy kind of mindset, you know, and granted, I really wasn't like that. Only earlier this year, when my business partner joined me, then he's the more business person, and it kind of like I learned a lot from him. So I'm always the, you know, the artsy one. I don't care if not earning money. I just want to do things I love. But through this year, I've learned a lot, and I think that yeah, it's very important to kind of also think about how does this craft pays you back in the end.
Yeah, I think that's really important in terms of like just realizing how learning different things out of your own kind of, not say comfort zone, but like what you are kind of like aware of or interested in is also key to growth, right? Especially in this kind of like time. All right, thank you so much again, Jayden, for your time this morning, and thank you everybody for joining us. I see that some of you are from many different countries, from France, from Seattle, from everywhere around the world. We hope that you guys have a very safe and a great end of the year as well with your loved ones. I know that we can't travel this year, but I hope we find joy in staying at where we are also. And have a great year. And also, Jayden, thank you for joining us this morning and
it's
sharing.
Such an honor to be with you guys and all these people waking up so early in the morning.
Yes, we are all striving to be a morning person with great coffee, of course, and beautiful work that you've just shown this morning.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you again. Do share if you guys have any images with us on our social, and check out the Hive, and of course check out headquarters. What is the website again, Jayden? www. I can leave it in the.
Our website is not up yet.
Oh, your website is not out yet, but
yeah,
you can
Instagram
check out on Instagram. Yeah. Let me leave the Instagram handle if you guys are curious about or wanna maybe collaborate with Jayden in the future and his studio. You guys can reach out here. It's headquarters at headquarters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Creative Morning. This is you guys have one amazing platform, you know.
Yeah, I think we have quite a great community of people as well. Thank you, and do reach out to Jayden and headquarters on Instagram if you are keen. If you guys have more questions, hopefully Jayden, you can answer them as well if they reach out to you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye bye.